I'm Stacey. Welcome to the kitchen of my old Kentucky home. Today, we're going to be getting ready for cookout season. We'll be making cheeseburgers with a local spin and telling you something you may not know about its origin story. And in bourbon cocktails, Jessica's got us chilling out. Let's get going. For our cheeseburgers, we'll be using a pound of bison, or you can use ground beef, salt and pepper, slices of cheese, prepared Henry Bain sauce, and hamburger buns. For our burgers, we're actually going to be using a local meat. We'll be using ground bison. And as I shape these into patties, I want to tell you a little more about the bison. Bison is often confused with buffalo. They're in the same general family. They are native to North America, and in Kentucky, their domestic herd has been growing by about 20%. So it's very much in demand as a local product. And then as far as the cheeseburger that we're talking about today, of course, it's been around since most all of us have been born. It became popular in the 20s and 30s. And though there are about 4 different people that have claimed its origin, one of them is right here in Louisville. In 1934, Mr. Carl Kalin, that owned Kalin's Restaurant, which is still running, a version of it today, put a slice of American cheese on a hamburger patty, melted it, and started putting it on the menu. And that was back in 1934. As I said, there's a couple other claims to that, but in Louisville, we all know that Kalin's is the home of the cheeseburger. This meat is simply so good, it needs nothing other than salt and pepper. I know some people might mix garlic or oregano or other spices into their just regular ground beef patties, but with the bison, this is simply all you need. So we're gonna just do a little salt. This is a little kosher sea salt. And I've already ground this cracked black pepper. I've got a skillet cast iron on the stove heating with a little canola oil in it. We're just gonna take these and sizzle them for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. Okay, now for the fun part, the assembly of our burger. And so in addition to these Kentucky origin stories with the bison and the cheeseburger in Louisville, I have a couple other local twists to add. One is the cheese that we used, and we put the slices on and then tinted it as how we got it melted. This is Kenny's Farmhouse Cheddar from Austin, Kentucky. It's about 2 hours from Louisville, closer to Bowling Green. It's a local dairy. He does the cheeses. He has a variety of styles. This one is a garlic, paprika, Monterey Jack. He also has a nice mozzarella and tomato basil cheddar that I also thought about, but this one looked good. And in addition to the dairy farm and the cheese making operation, you can actually stay on the property in some B&Bs, so that's something I want to check out. The other twist, even though one of our producers is aghast at this, he prefers his mayonnaise and ketchup and mustard, we're actually using a condiment that we made in a previous episode, if you remember, the Henry Bain sauce, which is a great condiment for meats. This was a chutney-based Worcestershire sauce, Kentucky bourbon in it, and we're gonna use this to give it a complete Kentucky spin. We're just gonna drizzle some Henry Bain on all that. So there you have it, our Kentucky-style bison cheeseburger. Now let's go see what Jessica's got chilling up for us in bourbon.
Today I'm gonna make a bourbon slushie. This is a great summer drink since it's frozen, and it's also really good for a cookout or a party because this recipe that I'm gonna do right now has about 20 servings. So what I already have done here is made a black tea simple syrup. What I did was I brought 2 cups of water to a boil, added 3 black tea packets, and let that steep for a few minutes, and then I added 2 cups of sugar, stirred it until it was dissolved, and I went ahead and put it in here, and we've been letting it cool for a little bit. So next we're just gonna add 7 more cups of water. We're gonna add a whole container of frozen lemonade concentrate, 12 ounces. And then we're gonna use half of a container of the frozen orange concentrate. And then I'm just gonna whisk all that together. And then we're gonna add 2 cups of bourbon. Again, this has about 20 servings, so 2 cups of bourbon might sound like a lot, but this is gonna go a long way. All right, so what we're gonna do now is take this mixture and we're gonna freeze it for a minimum of 4 hours to get that slushy texture. And once it's frozen, you can kind of scrape out the slushy mixture and then we're gonna top it with ginger ale.
Okay, people are gonna think I'm making this up, Jessica, but I swear this is the best one yet. Like, I have almost devoured the whole thing before you even wrapped it.
It goes down easy.
It's delicious.
The first time I ever had these was actually right after I graduated from college. I bought a bunch of my Ohio college friends home. My mom had a freezer full of bourbon slushies for us for all of Derby weekend.
What an awesome tradition.
Yep.
This is actually one that I didn't grow up with, believe it or not. I wasn't introduced to these until I married into the Yates family, and my mother-in-law makes a recipe very similar to this. I love the citrus in it.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And it's actually really on trend with what some Louisville restaurants are doing right now. There's a lot of bourbon slushies, like boozy milkshakes, kind of that frozen drink trend is all over the place.
Well, speaking of the frozen, it's great because it stays cold for a long time, right? Mm-hmm. And I think you're right about something great for that cookout, you know, great for a crowd to make ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of, I guess we better get to cooking up the rest of those burgers.
I think so.
And if you'd like to see more recipes like these bison burgers or bourbon slushies, you can visit us at culinarylouisville.com, and we'll see you here next time on Bourbon
And biscuits.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.